Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I want to tell you and more specifically talk about why it is that you should try and avoid big mistakes if you are an alliance and you are looking, or if you have a big group of alliances or a project that went into a kingdom. Avoiding the biggest mistakes of joining umbrellas or joining big groups or trying to form groups with others if you're just a single or independent alliances and you're thinking, okay, well, this alliance is stronger or they're the number one alliance, but they're just by themselves. They're trying to kind of form an umbrella within a kingdom. Why you should potentially avoid doing that, because there is a lot that goes into it. So let me start off first with, let's say you're going to go into a kingdom with a project or a group of alliances. You already have, let's say you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alliances you're going into the kingdom with, whatever it may be. And one of the things that happens, there's quite a few things that happen passively because of this, but one of the things that is related to this is where you'll have alliances that will reach out to you. They'll either reach out to the leaders of those alliances, if there's a specific head of the alliance, or if there's someone who's, mainly focusing on doing the diplomacy conversations. But typically, in most cases, you're going to have leads that'll reach out to other leads, usually. And when this happens, at times you will have these leaders who will say, oh, hey, can I join your group? Can I join your umbrella? Can I be a part of your family, right? Now, though this at face value may appear to be a win or a great thing, right? Because if you're a part of that family, you're thinking to yourselves, oh, cool, well, we're going to be able to have this or these other alliances that are interested in joining our family. Now, that's whether or not you are they're just passively reaching out, or on top of, and we'll also talk about like going out and recruiting, right? But it can kind of be done from one or two other sides, one of those two ways. The challenge here is that when you do something like this, you have to understand that usually if you are going, and this is kind of why we have to back up a bit and then we'll come right back. When you are going into a kingdom as a pre-organized group, usually you have already spent a little bit of time together, right? And I'll give you a great example. When I went in to 65 with my project, we had, I think it was 7 alliances, or no, sorry, 7 or 8 alliances that we went in with. I had gone through my interview processes with the leads. We did an interview process with officers that we ended up bringing on, and all of our goals, our expectations, our standards, what we were planning to do, everything was transparent. Everything was up front. So everyone that was a part of that project, we, for the most part, when you're talking about management, leadership officers, and then a core group of the players, were already kind of in it and aware of everything and the constant reiterations that we were doing, along with reinforcing that with things like town halls and meetings. We were already kind of I don't want to say a well-oiled machine, but everyone kind of knew for the most part what those expectations were going in, and they knew that for months. Some obviously a month up to a few months. So the difference is that those people chose to be a part of a group or a project based on what it was. So you have to then compare that, as we now fast forward, to if you're going into a kingdom and you have alliances that want to join. Are they joining, right? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. Are they joining because they truly believe in what your project stands for and they have a complete understanding of your expectations, your goals, your standards? Or are they joining you because you're just the shiniest thing that is accessible to them? And on top of, they may also do it because they may feel, and this is something that is very real, and I've seen this happen in multiple kingdoms, even when I was doing some of my early projects in Rock, where you'll have alliances that want to join your umbrella because they look at it as a safety net. They view you as essentially a deterrent against other alliances attacking them, right? Because if they join and all of a sudden they're a part of the family, right, that can then, at times, deter or can persuade, passively, if you will, at times, from other alliances to attack. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that you are this group, right? So let's say RK3, VM3, and then I don't know if this is another RK3. Okay, yeah. So let's say that another group added in this -3, right? That was over here in zone 1. Let's just say who's yellow. Okay, I don't know who yellow is. Let's just see who yellow so I can give a point. So let's say yellow as an example, or better yet, sorry, let's say blue here. Let's say blue was OF-3. Well, because now they've joined this strong and powerful alliances, right? And they're obviously in zone 3. The likelihood of someone like DV or another alliance here may not be as quick to attack or to remove territory or to attack farmers, flags, barricades, etc. keeps as they would if that alliance was unaffiliated, right? If they were not a part of a larger group, or if, for example, if they're just independent or maybe a part of a small group, as it were. And so these visuals are very important because they do factor into these things. And I've been in kingdoms where I've seen this happen, where you've had alliances that have just joined an umbrella or joined a group because they just felt like, oh, cool, well, we'll just get some protection. It'll allow for us to develop a little bit more, and then we'll see what we can do from there. I've also seen situations where alliances joined groups so that way they could get access to deeper zones, and then eventually they branched off and formed another group on their own. Or I've even seen it where they went against the group that was kind of the hand that fed them, so to speak, that they searched out. And so I'm saying all of this to put the perspective there in front of players that are looking to either make alliances, or you are a group and you're looking to expand upon your group, right? Now, the approach that, again, let's talk about you going out and trying to recruit alliances. Bear in mind, like I said before, even if you take that approach, which, again, the answer is pretty much the same, you have no idea what the leader or that alliance on the other side really truly believes, right? Do they truly agree and would be loyal, or would just want to work with you because they love what your project's about? Even if they tell you that they love what your project is about, can you really say with an absolute certainty or a guarantee that they are going to be, someone that you can rely on, someone you can depend on, just as much as your internal alliances that have kind of already been with you for a while? And the fact is that you can't. It doesn't mean that they are not trustworthy. It doesn't mean that they could not get to a point where they're able to build a level of rapport and build a level of a bond with you, right, to kind of earn that trust. But it doesn't mean that they're just all of a sudden, day one, going to be, your best man at your wedding, so to speak, right? There has to be kind of a realistic level of expectation here. And so then we move on to, well, what can you do? What should you do, right, in these situations? So before I even get there, right, let me talk about the scenario where, let's say you're the number one alliance, right? Like, let's say, and I'll just give an example because I'm not sure what the rankings are here. We can check real quick, and then I'll just give you something. So let's go here. So RK3 is the strongest alliance right now. And let's say, as an example, right, let's say that RK3 didn't have any other allies or whatnot. I'm just guessing on the whole VM3 as well, just because of the acronyms, right? That could be unrelated or related. Point here is that let's say that RK3 Ragnarok decided, you know what, we're the number one alliance, and we are getting, because this is the thing, usually if you're the number one alliance in most kingdoms, you're typically going to get a lot of applications. You're going to get a lot of people that want to come and join your alliance. It's just by default. Doesn't mean that everyone will, but you're always going to get asked, hey, do you have room? Do you have space? Right, etc. And so usually what ends up getting done is that the number one alliance, in most cases that I've seen, will try and expand by making a second alliance, and then they'll try and fill in players there. Now, this can be done in kind of one of two ways. Either they'll make the second alliance, and then they will just fill in all the new players that want to come, or sometimes what the better approach is that you split up your alliance, right? And then you start filling it in, but you basically say, well, okay, half of the players from the number one alliance will go to the second alliance, and then we'll kind of recruit for both. Or what you do is, if you want to kind of retain that #1 spot, for example, in this case, maybe you say, well, we'll send 1,billion power to that second alliance that we just made, and then we'll recruit people for that. And then as that alliance works its way up the ranks, right, we'll keep, like, not dumping, but we'll keep transitioning players over, right? So that way it's a little bit fair, because it's hard to ask players within an alliance to say, okay, well, hey, we need you guys to go to this second alliance because we're going to recruit for this. This is why it is a challenge overall when you're really thinking about how to actually get something like that done. Right, it's easy just to think of and say, oh, well, hey, we'll just make another alliance, and then everyone will just go there that wants to join us. And usually that's not the case. It is harder. It's a little bit more of an uphill battle. But my point here is that if you're the #1 alliance and you want to, and again, I'm just talking about creating. I'm not talking about an already existing alliance kind of coming under your umbrella, right? We'll touch on that now. So let's say you have an alliance that wants to join, or sometimes you'll see the #1 alliance saying, well, okay, well, hey, do you want to come and join our alliance or come under our umbrella? And sometimes that can be done in a nice way, and sometimes it can be done in an aggressive way, where maybe you want to take over some territory, or you're telling them, well, hey, you can join us or die, right? That's something that we've obviously seen happen in, you know, some kingdoms. And then other times it's alliances reaching out to the #1 alliance, which is not all the time, but this can happen, where you'll have alliances that'll reach out to the #1 and they'll say, hey, can we join or be a part of your group? And this, to me, kind of just comes full circle right back around. This is kind of where we'll end it, is talking about, well, what really should be done, right? What is the best approach if you want to try and either create a group within the kingdom, right, after you're already in it, or if you want to expand your existing group. My recommendation, this is the approach that I take in all the kingdoms that I make projects, or I do a project and I go in, and I can tell you that the feedback I get from leaders of those alliances is that even though it is a little bit different of an approach, they end up respecting it a lot more, because they're able to essentially kind of keep their integrity intact. And so the approach I take is pretty simple. I just don't allow for anyone to essentially come in and join our already existing family without a level of due diligence that is done. And an example of that could be, well, okay, let's say something like, well, let's work together for a month, see how it goes. Let's work together for 2 months. We'll see how it goes, right? That could be us communicating. That can be us, you know, working on territory distribution. That can be us, you know, working out things like war games and etc. Right? Basically, how well are you able to kind of, you know, cohabitate with these alliances within a kingdom without bringing them immediately into your family? So you just treat them as independent alliances. Or you could say, well, let's see how the first season goes, and then if the first season goes well, and you guys are still interested in wanting to join, then yeah, we could totally talk about that going into season 2. So to me, I think that's a lot better, because it allows for each of the alliances to keep their independence. It allows for them to kind of keep their integrity intact. And then if they're still interested in wanting to join and they really love what your group is about, then at least they've spent time proving that to you over a period of time, right, to kind of show you that. So again, right, that's my approach. And that pretty much, I think, is going to bring us to the end. I'd love to know what you guys think on this video. I love doing these kind of topical conversations, because I think there's such a bigger space in Kingdom Builders than just playing the game, right? So again, with that in mind, let me know in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.